Yo, welcome back. I'm cooked. I I came out here thinking, oh, I'll just tinker and stuff, make a little bit more things pretty. I put wire loom on any wires that were kind of sticking out because they were red. So I cleaned all that up, and then I was like, you know what? Let's stick the Sparko seats in here. It won't be that much. Man, I about put my fist through the floorboard. I spent almost 12 hours getting the factory tracks off of those, put on there, put in the car. I drilled about 8,000 holes because the track base on this is narrower than the factory ones. And sorry, and it, boy, man, you're lucky your mama wasn't here because we would have thrown hands, and not the usual hand throwing. Anyways, but that is in there. Actually, let me I can't move it because the adjusters are all jacked up. I am definitely going to spend the money and get actual tracks that are made for these and this body style. And if it's $250 a piece, I don't care. At some point, I'm gonna get it. So that means I'm not going to waste my time trying to put the other one in here. I'm trying to put that one in here and do everything I had to do over here. Fat chicks need some room anyways, so we got plenty of room for them. Just throw a cardboard box down or something for when they leak. Okay. Okay. I apologize. But yeah, check this out. I got my oil pressure gauge mounted right here. There's a little hole that I just bolted it through. So we got oil pressure and nothing else. That's great. It's all right. I know it runs good and it's running cool. I got the coolant burped. I had it sit at idle and run for about almost 30 minutes. And the temp sat about 176, and that's at idle. So that was really good. I got the bracket for the throttle cable, and coming back, you braggy bitch. Drive shaft is ready to go. I just put it together, and so I thought the conversion U-joints I got, thinking I was going to use the factory one, would be useless now, but most old school rear ends, they take U-joint caps at the back of the drive shaft where it connects to the pinion yoke. Usually they are always the clip style, meaning this clip is what keeps the U-joint cap in place. It keeps the U-joint in place when it's put into the slip yoke. Usually, or not usually, sorry, there's later on, way later, which is the better slip yokes, they have a little nub on them where the U-joint cap, when you put the U-joint in there, the nub keeps everything in place instead of just this clip. So I am able to actually just take these caps off, take this cap off. I don't think it was this one. I think it was the small, it was these. And just put these bad boys on. Just like that. Just like that. JKLMNOP. Just like that? Yeah. Okay. We'll do those. But with these caps being a little bigger, they'll still move around. See how loosey-goosey that is? I'm going to just pack them with grease, and that will keep them in place. Now, that It's so messed up. I moved that thing 8 You raggedy. Yeah, that's what you get. Tired of you. So I'm just gonna go on ahead and scoop some. Oh, well, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. That looks good. That's not enough. Okay, there we go. You want that bad boy? Squeeze that bad boy in there. Oh, yeah. Give it all the grease. Okay. How about you? And then after you do this, your fingers will smell like high temp grease for the next 2 weeks. Don't worry, it's okay. Oh yeah, nice and there we go. You just greased your U-joint all at the same time. Imagine that. 2 birds with 1 joint. I mean stone. What did they say? I don't know. So we're gonna make a nice little mess and clean this up. Okay, now let's get this in the car because I do know it fits. I already checked it. So, you guys want to see a magic trick? It's the water pump bolt. Ah! You want to know where it was? Just guess. Not up Uranus. It was on the workbench. You want to know how to... You want to hear a funny joke? No, not your mom this time. How do you drown a blonde? I'll give you a second to think about it. Okay. Oh, I didn't put the clips in. Okay. A little bit more time to think about it. How do you drown a blonde? Okay. What's your answer? Wrong. Put a scratch and sniff sticker at the bottom of a pool. No? Nobody? Tough crowd. Oh, wrong way, Anthony. Come on now. Act like you've put a drive shaft in before. These caps are too big. Which makes sense because this is an 8 1/4 rear end and not an 8 3/4. Okay. I'm gonna have to try to put the other caps on, so we'll be back. Okay, so I actually just put the old U-joint caps on it that were already on the back of the old drive shaft. And then I put grease in them too. And I just realized when you do that, you also put new grease in between the needle bearings in the cap. Genius. Well, ay. Are you not entertained? Come on. Thank you. Jeez Louise. Right. There we go. Come on now. Why are you acting like... Come on. It is not this difficult. U-joint cap set number 3. There we go. I feel like there's a better position I could be doing this in, but I like the freaky positions. Jeff, get the jack. Come on, man. let's install the bracket for the throttle cable. First, you got to take off the IAC sensor to get to the bolt right here. And that takes I have no idea. I just pick whichever star bad boy looks correct, and look at there. T5, T6, T27, Lakers in 5. I bet I look like an absolute mess right now. Hopefully, this just goes nice and easy. Because apparently, putting a seat in can't. Putting a drive shaft in can't. So, I'm not gonna be surprised if nothing goes correctly even now. 10mm. Well, come on. Don't be like that. There we go. It gives you these paper gaskets. I don't know if you're supposed to use them, but I'm going to use them just in case. Where'd they go? Right in front of my face, like usual. Oh, brother. Hell no, we ain't playing this game again. Where'd you go? I will destroy your whole family. I ain't got time for this. Come on. Somebody's gonna die. It's that simple. My face. Oh, brother. This guy. Just in case you were wondering, the coolant crossover bolt that bolts it into the head is the same thread pitch as the throttle body screws. Just like if you were wondering. Back. Careful though. You don't want to break those bad boys. Okay. So, install that bolt for this before you put the bracket on. Just saying. Might make life a little easier. Absolutely everything is hooked up for it to run and drive. Everything. There's nothing. It is 1000% complete. So let's see if the drive shaft blows up. Okay, it has been a couple days for me, and we are back to the clicking when we turn the key and not starting. And at this point, I believe it is a ground issue. So I hooked up. I'd done the battery in the trunk on the CUDA, and I hooked this up the same exact way I did the CUDA. Let me show you. I have the negative cable running through the trunk pan to the frame. Cleaned off my spot for the ground. And then at the engine, I put a ground from the block to the body / frame also. Now on the CUDA, that was enough. But this is a longer car, and both the CUDA and this B-body are unibody cars, meaning they don't have a frame that runs from here all the way back. It has a front subframe which goes from here to here, and then it's just floor pan, and then it's frame from here to here. So it's possible that it just needs a super long negative cable from the battery to the block, which is what I'm doing here, but it's also possible that it needs to be much bigger than 4 gauge. So I have 0 gauge coming from Amazon. It's just not here yet. It'll be here today, but I don't know if I'll be able to get to it today. So I'm just doing this for the hell of it to see if this works. So I'm going to run this 4 gauge from the negative post to this same spot right here and see if that helps, because the battery is perfectly fine. It's showing 12.43 volts as it sits right here. So the battery isn't the issue. I also found when I was trying to start it that it's getting super hot right here. So this is 0 gauge going into 0 gauge. So it shouldn't be doing that, but it's only getting hot right here. It's not hot anywhere along the line here, or even kind of back here. It's just strictly hot right here. So I'm not thinking it's this cable anymore either, even though it's still possible it could be. Most likely I might still have to run just one single 0 gauge wire from the positive post to the starter, but I'm going to do this first and hope that fixes it, because this is ridiculous. It literally runs perfectly good, perfectly perfect. If I can get it to just turn over. So I could have burnt up the starter too, so I did order another starter just in case. I don't know. I'm getting power. So last time I wasn't getting power from in there to the starter because it had melted, but I tested power all the way through the wire, and it's getting power all the way to the starter. So let's do this and watch it fix nothing, and then I just blow my brains out. JK. Maybe. Okay. 45 trillion hours later. I'm so exhausted on this mentally and physically. My hands, Anybody want to buy a Plymouth Satellite? JK, don't start asking me how much in the comments, because you ain't got the money. But let me show you what I've done, where we're at. I have added a ground to this side of the engine now. It's right there, coming this way, mounted to the core support. Still got that ground there. I ran the the 0 gauge wire. I made a whole new battery cable, 0 gauge, all the way from the starter to the battery. The new battery, by the way, that we'll get to in a second. I kept this ground, this extra ground. I just kept it on here and threw it on there just for the hell of it, just to see if it does anything. This was the new battery. And the only thing that makes sense to me at this point, so obviously it's moved. That was because I hooked it up to Wayne jumper cables, and it barely cranked over, just barely enough to start. So the only thing that makes sense is cranking amps. Now, I have always used just the smallest battery that would fit in the car on builds or my vehicles. Now, yes, 9 times out of 10 the battery is in here, so most of the time that's fine because gasoline engines, they're not super high compression like diesels. So usually a small little 600 cranking amp battery is perfectly fine. Well, I'm assuming that because the cranking amp's got to go all the way from back there, all the way up there, that apparently 750 is not enough. So I spent more money and got one that is 935. I was going to get 1,000, but it wouldn't have fit in the battery tray. So if 935 doesn't cut it, I have no idea. I might have to figure out a way to put the battery back in the engine bay. But there's also a good chance this battery is just not good. There could be a bad cell in it, but I don't know. We're hooked up. We're ready to go. However this goes, the video is done after this because I am waiting. I have to change the cross member. I'm not sure you guys heard it that well in the video, but earlier in the video when I was backing it out of the garage, I was making this horrible clunking sound. Well, I might have forgotten to tighten up the cross member to the cross member, if that makes any sense. So the cross member was down there all loosey-goosey, the transmission's moving, engine's moving, so it's just hitting everything. And then also the transmission, I noticed that I didn't cut the middle of the transmission cross member. I didn't cut it down far enough. So the tail shaft is actually sitting on the cross member too, which is also making adding to the noise. But I ordered a different cross member from Summit that I'm going to try. It's actually for a manual transmission to go into a BE body. But I can tell by the way it looks that it's going to work for this. So let's see if this starts and doesn't make me loving brains out. That's good. So I'm afraid to even try because I am so tired that I legitimately don't know what else I could do after this except put the battery back in the engine bay, which I don't think is possible. So, with that being said, let's see what happens. That was a little much, I apologize. Oh, no. Orchestra in here? Is it band class? Oh, need the keys. Where are the keys? Let's just see how it sounds cranking over. That's better. Still slow. know what? Let's go for a test drive because I'm pissed off and I don't give a fuck. So, let's go, ladies, to the Batmobile.
So, there's just a bunch of noise going on underneath the car. I might have figured out the whole not getting enough power to the starter issue. I think it's something to do with those distribution blocks and the fuse panel I put in the engine bay. I think power is just going too many different ways and not singularly where it needs to go. But I'm pissed off, son. This is the first test drive, by the way. We're shifting into every gear. That suspension is so bad. I got my laptop next to me. The exhaust leaks are horrible. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. Don't need that anyways. Probably best we don't look behind us. It literally feels like I'm riding on metal. Because it's so fucked up, the suspension. Oh well. Oh my goodness. It needs a new cross member bad. The tires. That is the tires just screeching for their lives. Sorry, I don't care. We're not even at 180 degrees. Man, fuck them tires. Oh, she needs a little too. Power. Oh shit. We're smoking. cook, chat. So the starter wire might have been touching the header. But that is that. I have to figure out how I'm going to get this home. I will see y'all on the next one.